Cheers.
Cheers.
To ABV Technology. Jared, the non-alcoholic aficionado, here with Ben Jordan at the ABV Technology facility in St. Paul, Minnesota. We're going to pour out some non-alcoholic beer. This is from Wooden Ship. It's an ABV collaboration. They're just down the road in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've got the Imperial Dark Brew, and Ben has the Hazy IPA. I got to catch up to you. I'm going to pour just as much as you did for good measure.
Here you go. Well, cheers again. Yeah, I really like what they've done here. That's maybe a bit of a more bitter hazy IPA than normal, maybe a little more West Coast. This was their first collaboration with us, and so they tried to make a alcohol-free, non-alcoholic hazy IPA.
So under 0.05, right?
Under 0.05, that's
Perfect.
right. And for a lot of people that matters. People are concerned with even the smallest amount of alcohol.
Yep.
And so we want to have options for them. This is probably one of the first examples or first craft examples of a hazy IPA that's alcohol-free.
Yeah, and I'm assuming definitely the first with an Imperial Dark Brew, I would think.
This one's pretty special, right? It started at almost 10% ABV as an Imperial Stout.
Wow.
That's why we call it an Imperial Dark Brew NA.
Yep.
Seems like a bit of a contradiction of terms, but this started off at a 10% Stout and was dealcoholized to make it a non-alcoholic.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, being 5 years alcohol-free, having something like an Imperial Dark Brew that I would have experienced many times over in my drinking days, but to be able to have it with no side effects, downside, or alcohol, issues. Like here we are, and here we have it.
And how's the mouthfeel? What did you think?
It's good. It's very, very smooth.
We've had this a couple times, but I always like to maybe try it again.
Yeah, it's really good. And is it available, or is it coming out soon?
Coming out soon. It launches actually at the the Autumn Beer Review.
Oh, nice.
Over the weekend at Boom Island. Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild puts on an annual beer review,
Nice.
and we've been hosting that non-alcoholic side of it for years. We provide staff and set up a tent and make sure that people who attend the festival have options for non-alcoholic.
Yeah, that's important.
We've done that for 5 years now, so
Yeah.
we're launching this with Wooden Ship this weekend.
Very cool. I don't know if you probably know the stats, but a Nielsen study was done, and 30% of the country doesn't drink at all.
Yes.
That's huge. That's a lot of people. And now, with something like this from Wooden Ship and ABV collaborating, they can have an Imperial Brew or a nice 0.05% IPA.
That's it.
Which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd be interesting to see that data. The 30%, I even think it's maybe low. Like, there's probably a lot of people who drink very little, maybe Christmas and Easter type of drinkers that are above that 30%.
Yeah. The next 30% is one drink less a week.
Yeah.
Right. That's over half the country that would benefit from having an option,
And if you're a brewer or a winemaker and you're looking for additional ways to grow your revenue, I mean, right, there's your target market.
Yeah.
If you can make a product now that other 60% of the world, of the United States, is not drinking normally, and now you can sell it to them. That's a big win for you as a brewery.
Yeah, and I think that leads in, Ben, with your initiative here at ABV Technology. You want to maybe give us a little rundown of what's going on these days?
Yeah, sure. We've been around for about 7 years, and we've tried a number of different ways to help different craft breweries and wineries make different non-alcoholic and alcohol-free beverages. We started off just dealcoholizing. People bring their beer to us, we remove the alcohol, and we send it back to them. And we've grown and expanded upon that service now to provide not only that dealcoholization service, but canning, labeling, pasteurizing. We also do additives and make sure that if you need to add preservatives or if you want to add flavoring after the dealcoholization process, we offer all of those pieces so that you kind of have an end-to-end solution that you can start with us and say, I want this kind of beer in cans and sent to my distributor. We can provide you with everything in between and help you every step of the way. Since we've done hundreds of different brands for at least 120 breweries here in Minnesota, we know all the tricks and all the caveats that you need to consider along the way.
Yeah, and with that, I'm gonna make a quick plug. I've actually reviewed a lot of beers that are stemming from ABV Technology, so if you're on the channel and you want to see more of that, subscribe. Feel free to check out what's out there. Badger Hill did a video tour. Bauhaus Brew Labs did a brewery tour and tasting. So plenty of stuff out there to check out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great that you've been going around and looking at all these. And
Definitely.
there are so many different ways to make non-alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
And we're learning sort of which customers we work the best with.
Totally.
We think that for craft breweries who are interested in new flavors, sort of the high end of the beer world, we think that our technology is good for them because they can get their existing recipes that they've honed over the years and make them into non-alcoholic and low alcohol versions of those.
So Ben, we've got the facility here in St. Paul, Minnesota, where you're able to dealcoholize and pasteurize beer. Do you have other facilities in the area or across the country?
Yeah, good question. In fact, we're in the middle of a crowdfunding campaign right now where we're raising capital to grow more facilities. We have a facility here in St. Paul, but we want to open up one in Chicago, in New York, and in the LA area. And having the capital to grow those facilities is a big requirement. If you go to wefunder.com/ABV Technology, you can see that crowdfunding campaign and all the details involved.
And I'll put the link to that below in the description. So check that out, everybody. Every bit of support helps the cause. We're looking forward to seeing ABV across the country soon.
Yeah, great. Appreciate it. Anybody who wants to invest, we're happy to have you on board. Thanks. Well,
Cheers, Ben.
cheers.
Cheers. And I just spilled on myself. Beautiful. Oh no.
Oh no.
Shit.
Oh no.
Just a little
What do
bit.
you want to do? It's Polly, of course. Oh no.
We ride it out. Cheers,
Cheers.
Ben. What do we have here? We have an issue that took place. I drank this beer first. It spilled on my shirt. We decided to try a heat gun. As you can tell, there is a slight hole in my shirt now, but we're gonna roll with the punches and power on for the sake of non-alcoholic beer.
That's right.
So here we are with the
you did it
falling.
sober.
I did it sober, yeah. We got the Falling Knife Daydream IPA made in-house here at ABV.
Made in-house at ABV. Falling Knife's a great brewery. Tom and crew up the road here make a lot of great IPAs and other things. They made an NA version of their hit Daydream IPA, and it's I'd say pretty great haze color.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Excellent head, nice and lacy. Body's good, mouth's good, aroma's good. You can go get it up at Falling Knife at any time. We were talking about the different ways to make NA a little bit, and there's a lot of different ways that non-alcoholics made. In fact, one way we think about this is there's sort of a yeast-based approach where you can use alternative yeasts that never produce any ethanol.
Sure.
And they take malt and water and hops and yeast and make a non-alcoholic beer that's never really had a lot of ethanol in it.
Yeah.
The other way to do it is through separating alcohol. We take a beer that's got some ABV. It's been brewed in a traditional sense.
Yep.
And it might have 5% or 10%. And we put it through a process, might be the process we have in the back, or there are other ways to do it too, that removes that alcohol. And the whole game there is trying to remove it as gently as possible so you don't affect the beer.
Yeah.
And there's even more subtleties to it in that when you remove the alcohol, it kind of unbalances the beer a little bit. Like the presence of alcohol makes it taste different. And so you might find that certain hops might have overpowered it now and other hops might be lacking.
Yeah.
Or you might have too much of a malty flavor. So really rebalancing those recipes and learning how to make NA, depending on the technology you choose, it can be a real journey. Some people get it right out of the gate, right? This is their standard Daydream IPA. They sent us over a keg, they ran it through, they turned it into non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
It was great. Others can be more challenging, and it really depends recipe to recipe. That said, it's pretty easy to do it. It takes one or two turns, and you can make something that a lot of people do like.
And I think from perspective of someone that's tried over 100 NA beers in the past year, having the ability to go to a brewery that has your favorite beer from the past,
That's right.
like a Surly Furious would be so cool to get a Surly Furious non-alcoholic version. Or I think of like the Two Hearted Ale from
Two-Hearted from Bell's.
Bell's, yes. Anything from Bell's would be so cool to have NA because I loved that when I was, drinking alcohol.
Yes.
And I think, as you guys continue to forge ahead with this initiative to broaden the base and create more facilities that are going to be able to do this work, it's going to bring those breweries into the fold, and they're going to realize that if they don't have their own version, that they're going to be missing out. And I think that's really
right.
where you're pushing, and that's what's going to happen in the short term, I feel like.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it is often considered expensive or difficult to make NA, and we've been trying to lower that barrier. So people, regardless of the size of craft brewery you are, if we have a facility near you, you can bring your beer to us and we'll help you to get it dealcoholized, packaged, labeled, into cans, pasteurized, and ready to go either back to your tap room or into distribution, or because the distribution model is actually easier for NA, you can go direct to grocery stores. You can go to all these other, great places like Marigold, for example, the NA bottle shop here in town. You mentioned Bell's Two-Hearted. In all fairness to Bell's, I should say they have released Light-Hearted. It has a lower alcohol version of their Two-Hearted. It's not fully NA, which is another interesting category.
Or something?
Yes, exactly.
Low alcohol?
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
Which I find to be a fascinating category. We have a lot of customers who do that, who dealcoholize with us, and then take their original beer and combine them together to make a 2.5%.
Interesting. Huh. Cool.
It makes sense, right? That the spectrum's sort of getting smoothed out as people realize, what's so special about 0.5? Why not 0.75 or 0.25? It really is up to the person.
It's all about what works with their their vibe and their desires and their goals and what's triggering, what's not triggering, and everybody's different.
Yeah, exactly. And taste. Alcohol tastes like things, so it's for some people those things have to be balanced differently. And I like that we're at a place in the world right now where we have the ability for those beverages to be made available to all of these people.
Totally.
Right? That a family can walk into a brewery and there's something for everybody. Whether they'd want sugar or gluten or beer or wine or non-alcoholic or alcoholic, it's just all there.
Yeah, I think gone are the days of getting a water because there was nothing else for you.
Why would you go out and just have water?
I did for years. So alcohol-free for 5 years, and I went 4 years drinking, Arnold Palmer's and Diet Coke and water. So cheers to having options.
Yeah, beer's great, man. Beer's great. So is wine. It's all good. We're excited we get to work with so many amazing breweries.
Yeah.
We're here in Minnesota, and we've gotten to work with all these craft breweries here. A couple cideries here in town that really make a lot of good NA products with
Milk
us.
and honey.
Milk and honey, for
That's
example. Have you had that?
I have. It's delicious.
I mean, there's this wall up here. You can't see it on the camera here, but there's this wall here of non-alcoholic beverages that we've been involved in one way or another.
Yeah.
And, it's been exciting. The wine world's been great to see take off as well.
Yeah.
And, that dealcoholization process there, I mentioned in beer that you've got sort of a malt and yeast-based approach, and then you've got this dealcoholization approach. In wine, that's not as popular.
Okay.
The dealcoholization really matters in wine, and you'll see in wine labels as you explore different NA wines that they'll write dealcoholized right on the side of the can.
Yep, seen it.
In the ones that we were drinking previously, we tried to label that as well, so that on the beers, for example, the dealcoholization is front and center, so that people know, oh, this was dealcoholized, not maltose negative or whatever the yeast style was.
Yep.
For the real beer dorks, and there are, like you, craft NA beer dorks.
Yep.
They want to know these things.
Oh,
and we want to tell them those things. Right?
I love learning about the process, which is why I was excited to come in here for a second time and learn more and try more beers. And speaking of more beers, what are we going to try next?
I think we should try Arbeiter's IPA. Another great Minneapolis brewery. They are run by a group of people who have, really helped not only to bring beer to that neighborhood, but help that neighborhood to have a community of places to go and drink beer or NA beer or whatever. They have a whole variety of beverages in a part of the Minneapolis community that really needs community right now.
For sure.
So,
Cool.
Arbeiter's an amazing place. We really like them a lot. They've been with us for years as customers. So let me pour some.
Cheers, Ben.
Cheers again.
For the fourth beer of the tasting event. I'm going to do my best not to spill on my shirt again, although if I do, we have the heat gun to fix it.
You're gonna be Swiss cheese by the time we're done with you here.
It's something. It's a story to tell, right? So what do we have here? Arbeiter IPA.
Arbeiter's IPA.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. Starts off as a 6.5% IPA, you know, classic IPA. De-alkalized down to less than 0.5%. This one's nice and bitter.
Yeah.
I think they serve it on tap right now. You can go to Arbeiter and get it, and it's been a huge hit for them. They've been doing it, gosh, since 2021, I think.
Nice.
So, great group.
Yeah, they have a couple through you guys, right?
A couple, although I don't know currently what's on tap over there. I haven't been there for about a month.
Got it.
But at least the IPA.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's the nice thing in Minneapolis, right? You can go to a brewery and assume that they're going to have at least an NA beer option, and hopefully theirs. Right?
Yeah,
hopefully something they've brewed and de-alkalized or brewed themselves or whatever.
For someone that doesn't drink alcohol anymore, that is nice because I can, like you mentioned before, like if you're with a group of friends and someone does drink or someone, you know, is trying to drink less, they have both options and you can, you know, feel included and feel a part of the party, so to speak. So.
And breweries are such great places, right?
Oh,
They're just awesome places to hang out. The vibe's great, the ambiance is great, the people are great, and it's no longer just a place to just go just consume alcoholic beverages. It's now a third place that people can go and it's part of that community.
Yeah.
That's where it's really where the growth is going to be in craft breweries, is getting more people back into those places.
Yep. And I think too, like I've talked to a lot of people that have bottle shops, and having like Bauhaus now, for example, at a bottle shop, and then you try it and you're like, wow, I really enjoyed this. A logical next step is to have it at a restaurant or at the tap room.
Right.
And then once you've done that, then I have a buddy who just loves NA, and he gets it all the time. We were at a restaurant that had it in cans at the restaurant. Of course he ordered it.
Yeah.
He knows that he loves the beer.
Right.
And you become accustomed, just like if you're a Coors Light drinker.
Right.
You can become a NA drinker, and it's becoming more widespread in the state of Minnesota, for example, that you can have it a lot of different places, concerts, sporting events, all that.
That's right. It's at First Ave.
Yeah, I had it there.
I just had it there myself. It was great. Really
so I
great
think
to
that's
see.
where things are going. Like it's going to be, I think we're in 2024 right now. I think in 2 to 3 years, you're going to be able to be hard pressed and not have a non-alcoholic beer / beverage option at most places.
I think
it's going to happen.
I think
it
so.
needs to happen. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier, right? It's that thing of you know, we are, as a company, we aren't necessarily only making non-alcoholic beer. We make hard seltzer for people. We help people make low alcohol wines. We provide 15% seltzer bases to people. So we're not necessarily about only alcohol removal, but by giving people options. It's one of the rare times where by giving people more options, they'll choose to do better things for themselves.
Yeah.
I've been at a brewery many times where I've been like, I want to hang out with my friends, I want to stay longer, I want to stay for another hour.
Yeah.
But I just don't want a third 7% IPA because for whatever reason, I don't want to drive home with it. I don't want to feel crappy in the morning.
Yep.
These options are so great for all that.
There's so many benefits.
Right.
Yeah. And like the ease of being able to feel confident drinking something that you know isn't going to affect you in a negative way is just so freeing. Like you don't have to worry about this doing anything to you outside of calories in your stomach and the $1 or $2 it costs to purchase the can of beer, so to speak.
Right.
So with that, should we kind of transition to a little bit of a tour of the facility?
Sure, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Happy to do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So Ben, we've got something unique here since the last time I was on site with ABV Technology. New piece of production, right?
Yeah, that's right. Last time you were here, you looked at our dealcoholization tech. You looked at the ways that we were able to remove alcohol to help people make a non-alcoholic beer. The next challenge that people have when they're making non-alcoholic beer is shelf stability. Making sure that that can that's sitting in the grocery store stays drinkable and fresh and tasty and safe for months on end, potentially before it's sold. The gold standard for how you do that is pasteurization. But pasteurizers are really large and are often difficult to put into an existing craft brewery or winery. We came in and said, all right, since our customers are craft brewers and craft wineries, we need to make a solution that's sized for them. So we built a new product, it's this pasteurizer. This big box here, you put beer into it on a pallet, close the doors and turn it on, and it heats up and cools down that beer really quickly in order to pasteurize it. This lets you package your product, put it onto a pallet, palletize it, and then pasteurize it in its packaging. So you can take a case of beer wrapped in cardboard and pasteurize it. You can take a 6-pack like this one here, put a flat of 6-packs on a pallet and pasteurize it. You can pasteurize whole kegs. This lets pasteurization be something that's super simple and can be operated in a warehouse. It doesn't have to be connected to the canning line and take up the size of a bus. This brings pasteurization to the craft space at any scale.
Very cool.
It's a very important thing for craft breweries and wineries who are looking to get into the NA space and especially to distribute. Moreover, maybe I should mention that even serving beer on tap that's non-alcoholic has some risks. The Brewers Association, for example, pointed out that non-pasteurized beer that's served on tap can be dangerous if it's left in tap lines that aren't cleaned regularly. By providing new technology that provides pasteurization for even kegs, that's a part of the piece of the puzzle. That's a piece of the puzzle that's needed to solve how you serve NA on draft freshly, safely, all those things.
Yeah, totally.
We're part of that next solution. So.
Cool. Well, I think the solution is really the end game here. You're part of the puzzle that's going to lead to more and more non-alcoholic beer on the market, which is super exciting.
That's what we want.
Selfishly, from a guy that loves NA beer options. So appreciate your time, Ben. This has been a great experience learning about ABV technology, taste testing some of your more recent beers, and looking forward to seeing where things go.
Yeah, it's all up, man.
We're going places. Thanks, Ben.